Welcome back, guys. So in this video, we're going to be talking about CSS positioning. So in CSS positioning, we have static positioning, relative positioning, absolute positioning, sticky positioning, fixed positioning. What is static positioning? Static positioning is when elements are positioned at their actual position. So let's test this out and come back for the rest. We're going to create a file for it because why not position nen.html. So I'm going to close this. We don't need this for now. So let's name this positioning. So just going to take them one at a time and explain them. So we're looking at static positioning. That's when elements are positioned at their actual position. So let's do this. So I'm going to create a div. So I'm going to name this using a selector. Let's give this container. Let's give this a container. I'm going to use inline or internals instead. So I'm going to, let's do container. So let's give it a width of, maybe 500 pixel. I want it to be big. Let's give it height of maybe 100 VH. That's like the viewpoint. Let's give background color blue. So let's run this and see what it looks like. Good. So this is what we have. So this card right now is actually at its actual position. So this is a static position. This is where it's supposed to be. That's its actual positioning. So let's look at the next one, which is the position relative. So what is position relative? Position relative is when elements are positioned relative to their normal position. Elements are moved from their normal position to another position. So let me go over that again. Position relative is when elements are positioned relative to their normal position. Elements are moved from their normal position to another position. So let's design a card for that to test it. So I'm going to create this. This is a div. I'm going to name this relative position. This is a class relative. Let's do r_position. So that's relative position. Then I'm going to bring this here. So let's give it the same. I'm going to give this background color red. So I'll move this upwards because I want you guys to see it before the next one. So this is what it looks like. So the next thing we're going to do is add other properties, attribute or CSS attributes. So let's add the position relative. So this is position relative. So the next thing is after adding the position relative, you need to add and specify where or what aspects you want to move. Do you want the top to move to the bottom or bottom to top, right to left, left to right? So right now we're going to do left to right. So we're going to do left 50 pixel. So you can see that it's similar to margin, but this is not margin, please. It's just similar, but not margin. We're going to see the difference as we continue. So this is it has moved the element from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. The same way you can actually specify the top. You can do, let's do 50 pixels too for the top. It has moved. You can see that it has moved from the top downwards. Since you can specify the bottom and the right. So this is for position relative. So now let's look at position absolute. So what is position absolute? Position absolute is when elements are positioned relative to its position parent. But if it doesn't have any parent, it's going to be relative to the browser's page. I'll go over that again. Position absolute is when elements are positioned relative to its position parent. But if it doesn't have any parent, it's going to be relative to the browser's page. So we're going to use a div to test this out. Let's have a class. We're going to do a underscore position, so that's absolute to AB. Positioning. So absolute position. So I'm going to, so let's comment this out so we can see this properly. Good. So I'm going to start this quickly. So let's start this. We're going to use similar text. I'm going to change this. I'm giving this 500 pixel, or let's do 200, 300 pixel. So I'm changing this to 100%. I'm changing this to background color. Let's say background color gray. Good. So this is what we have. We have first card. So let's say this is the parent. Now let's have the child. So I have another div. So this is the one that will carry the absolute itself. So we're going to have a class name. We're going to do AB child, AB. Let's just do the AB absolute, which stands for absolute. You can name it anything you want. So just for this practice, AB. So we're going to let's make a circle with this. So I'm doing a little image circle. Then I have the height, the same. Then border radius, 50%. Let's give it a color so we can see. Let's use the X code 000. Good. So this is what it looks like. So now let's start adding our positioning. So to add our position absolute, we're going to be adding our position absolute to this child because we want to position it here somewhere. Let's bring it, want it to be somewhere here, or somewhere at the bottom. And it should be relative to this. It shouldn't move away from this parent. That's why we're using positioning. So let's add our positioning first. So that's position absolute. Good. So now we've added the position absolute. We need to specify where we want to move it to. So let's do bottom. So I'm going to do bottom 0 first, so you guys can see. So you can see when we did bottom 0, it has disappeared from its parents. So for it to stay relative to this parent, we have to add position relative to this card. So let's go and do that quickly. So this is the parent, this is the child. So let's add position relative to this one. Position relative. So now that we've added position relative, it's now inside its parent. So wherever you move this to follow. let's reduce the size. I feel like the card is too big. Let's reduce our size to something smaller. Okay, good. This looks better. So we're going to do minus because I want it to be out. Let's do minus 20 pixel. Good. So let's move it away from the side. Let's do left. I want to move it maybe 50 pixel. So let's see it's here, looking pretty. So this is it. So no matter how I move it, it's going to be inside its parent. You can see that's the work of the position absolute. So it's absolute to its parent. No matter how I move this, so it's responsive. It's just going to move alongside its parent. That's for position absolute. So make sure you add your position relative to its parents. Do not forget that. So the next one I'm trying out now is position fix. So what's position fix? This is when an element is positioned relative to the browser's page and it remains there without moving while scrolling the browser's content. Example of fixed position is when you have your charts, the charts section when you're at the bottom right of a page. That is position fix. So let's test it out. Let's make a quick card, a chart card, probably chartos. So I'm going to make this class. Let's name this fix. Fix. So let's start this quickly. So I'm adding width. Let's do width 50. I want it very small. I don't really want something big because charts are always very small. So this is 50 pixel. There's the background color. There's the green. Let's see it. So this is what it looks like. So we want it here as our chart. So let's add the content to it. Let's add charts. Good. So we've added charts. So ignore that for now. Let's add color. I'm going to use the S code FFF. Good. It looks better. Text align. Good. So we have that. Now let's add the position fix to it. So when we do position fix, position fix. So the next thing we need to do is specify where we want it to be. Where do we want it to be? How do we want it? Left, right, what position? Specify it. So we're going to do bottom 0. So bottom 0 brings it automatically down. So we're going to do right 0. So you can see this. You can actually do 10 pixel, so it can move away a little. They can do this too, add 2 pixel, 20 pixel to this. Good. So it's looking nice here. Now let's add more content to the page. Let's undo this one that we did before and comment them out. So you can see that no matter how you scroll the page, the position fix still remains there. So no matter how you scroll here, position fix still stays. So that's the work of the position fix. Good. So now the last one we're going to be talking about is sticky positioning. Sticky positioning. This switches between relative fixed position on scroll. So it's mostly used on websites when you want the users to scroll and you want the navbar to remain the same. You don't want it to scroll alongside the page. So that's when you can use sticky position for that. So let's test this out. So I'm going to put it on top because I want to make a quick nav bar. Let's do a nav. Let's assume this is our nav bar right now. So we're going to name this a class of nav. Let's style this nav. So I'm just going to do width 100%. Let's do height 100 pixel, which is much though. Let's give the background color so we can see what we did. Background color. Okay. Let's reduce our height because it's too much. Let's give width. Okay, this is better. I'm going to give this margin top so that it can move away from. Do we have this? Let me see. Let's give it this. Let's put it on the container. So the next thing we're going to do now is let's add our sticky positioning to the nav. Position sticky. So there's this important note. For it to work for your nav, you have to add your top. The top has to be 0. Top 0. So you have our sticky nav. Now let's test it out by uncommenting this out so we can scroll. You just have enough content on the page. You can see that. So this one, ignore this one as one on top. You can actually stop this by adding. Let's go to this. So this is it. I'm going to uncomment the top side. Good. So this is it. Let's give it Z index because Z index. So you have this scrolling underneath it, which is fine. So that's for sticky positioning. You can also achieve that using fixed position. So if you want to achieve the same nav using fixed position, all you need to do is put position fix. Comment this out. Let's see. Position fix. So because I put position fix, I'm going to put top. Good. I can actually do Z index. So it can elevate. What it does is it elevates this bottom side. It can accommodate or any other thing that comes inside of it. So this is what it looks like now. So we achieved this using sticky position, also using fixed positioning. And this is all for CSS positioning. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in my next one. Take care.